You know, honestly, I don't even know why I'm doing this. I don't. Like, what is doing this actually gonna accomplish? I mean, all it's gonna do is trigger people and get me disliked and probably a few angry comments about how I'm stupid and all the choices I picked are dumb and how I should never have picked up Dead by Daylight and yada 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 from this toxic community. Well, unfortunately for all the trolls, I don't have the patience or mental health to deal with it. So, I'm not going to be promoting any toxicity on this channel. So, we're going to lay out a few ground rules before I actually get started doing this, before I tackle this topic. If you want to disagree with me on anything, I'm sure you will. But I'm not gonna ban comments. I'm not gonna ban people from doing that stuff. Just if you're going to do it, and if you're gonna disagree with me, all you have to do is do it respectfully. There are ways to do that and act like civilized adults, ladies and gentlemen. So feel free to respond to the list with respectful comments. Even if you disagree, just keep it civil, people. There's no reason to berate someone's choices. And anyone that like does that and is like not an adult, like if you post respectfully, I'll most likely answer back and we can have a respectful debate or agree to disagree. It doesn't matter. Just like if you're being an ass in your comment, you're gonna get deleted. It's not that I'm not standing up to your argument. It's that you're being an ass, and retype it respectfully and it can stay. Okay, anyone that wants to be toxic is getting deleted. I don't. It's not like I'm tied time and I have tons of fucking comments. That it doesn't matter. Good. Like, if you post a toxic comment, I'm just gonna go ahead and delete it, but I'm not gonna read it either. If I see that it's toxic, I'm not gonna read your opinion, and I'm just gonna delete it because I'm not dealing with that. I'm not dealing with that. But that being said, like, there are, like, I acknowledge that there are arguments for things that, that not on this list. Like, there's an argument for this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. There's an argument that certain killers are better than others. Like, you can make all the arguments in the world, and, like, I can see why people would think that. So, like, please don't tell me Trapper is 2 places up or down where he should be. Like, that's stupid. That's stupid. This is just simply my personal order based on my mid-level experience playing the game. And, like, this is based on my experience watching other people play the game and making their tier lists and comments on those videos. This is based on everything that I've experienced playing the game. But, like, don't tell me Trapper's 2 places up or down. Like, just stop. Like, who cares? Like, if you want to make the argument, sure, but, like, just, like, it's dumb to argue over stuff like that, because getting everyone to agree on every single little detail is unrealistic. It's an unrealistic thing. So, like, there are arguments for differing opinions, especially when you get down to specific placements. This tier list is ordered based on my opinion, but, like, I put them all in tiers, so, like, if someone wants to say, well, Trapper's 2 places above in the same tier, like, okay, great, that doesn't significantly matter, so it shouldn't be something you're telling me about. Like, great, it's great that you think that, but it's so, like, not a factor that it just shouldn't matter, and it's, like, something that's not even worth fighting over. It's such a minuscule difference that it's not even worth fighting over, so it's, like, that in that point we can just go, okay, but we generally agree he's in the same area, so it doesn't fucking matter. Okay, but, like, there are still some things that I think are gonna get more controversy than others, and again, I acknowledge the fact that the community has differing opinions, and I acknowledge the fact that there are arguments for other things, so I will be classifying those as moments of contention. I'm not stupid. I know what the community thinks about certain characters. I'm not stupid. And so I can, like, and, like, this is just based on my own experiences with the game, and my opinions are slightly different than what other people, and even the vast majority, might see. So, like, I will address the counterpoints. Like, I'm not gonna, like, okay, I might respond to them with my personal opinion on it, but, like, I will address what the community thinks, and, like, say that you have an argument for that. And it shouldn't, like, we don't need to be toxic about our disagreements. That's basically what I'm trying. So I will acknowledge those as I run through this. I'm not brain dead, and I know what the community thinks about the characters, so just leave it at that. It's just an opinion, based on what I think. If you can have your opinion, that's fine. Make your own tier list video. There's not a lot of these. There's not a lot of tier list videos. That's actually why I decided to make one in the first place. Alright, next, this is what I believe the rankings are for viability at rank 1. Rank 1. Even though I'm not rank 1, I'm like rank 10, I'm like a mid-level. I think this rank 1 is the only way to truly rate these characters, because certain characters just don't work at rank 1. And it's like this is assuming the killer is played optimally and the survivors are playing optimally. Basically, if you think Doctor's OP, you don't belong here. You shouldn't be looking at this. Doctor ain't OP, people. If you think that, you get out of here. It's the same for casuals. This is for people who take the game seriously. And then, like, I think I've hit almost everything. And then, like, the last thing that really needs addressed is how my stance on perks, add-ons, and all the setups like that. Basically, as Tide Time said, it's unrealistic to cover every setup, every perk, every add-on for every single killer. I have a life, and I'm doing all that work. I have my own shit to do, and I'm not going to put all that time into it just so the Shapes Girl 1978 can yell at me in the comments section anyway after doing all that work. It's meaningless, and if you put all that work in, it might alter maybe at the very, very most 2 things on the tier list in the mid-tier section and nothing else. So, like, it's meaningless work for at most 2 position swaps, which don't mean shit. So, but, like, that being said, it's unfair to also completely ignore add-ons, because they are a thing, and, like, completely ignoring them, like, it's not fair to killers like Myers and pre-patch Legion. We'll talk about Legion in a minute. It's being unfair to those killers, because, like, not that anyone cares about being unfair to Legion, but maximizing their potential has a lot to do with add-ons, and they can, and so, like, I'll point out any interesting or relevant add-ons for the killers as I see them, but, like, think of add-ons as supplementary sources that come into factor when I'm trying to make a decision about where to rank killers specifically, if that makes any sense. Add-ons are purely supplementary sources. We're trying to, like, I don't want to say vanilla killers, but, like, keep it to, like, the mid-level add-ons, but the higher add-ons do factor in a lot, because, like, they can't shift. But, like, mostly this has a lot to do with their base powers and how they would be without any add-ons, factoring in add-ons after we rank them based on their initial power, essentially. So, like, you rank their power, then some of their add-ons would affect placements after the initial rankings went in, if that makes any sense at all. So with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. Thing about doing Dead by Daylight tier lists is the beginnings and the ends of the tier list are really predictable. So we'll just go ahead and start at the bottom and work our way up. That's how I think tier lists should be done. We'll start at bottom tier. Freddy. I feel like this doesn't come as any surprise to anybody. So we'll just keep it really short, although he might not be the worst for long. The Legion's gonna be bad. But, like, for right now, we're just gonna say Freddy because he's bad. But just keep it short. He's the only killer in the game whose power is a hit condition on the survivors. He can't hit people until his power goes off. It's a complete hindrance, and even when he pulls it off, he's a baseline killer in the dream world and gets no other benefits from it. Waking up is super easy, and, like, the only thing his power does is lets him hit people. It lets him play Dead by Daylight. And his add-ons barely do anything that help. They're not very good. He's just really bad, and we all know he's getting reworked, and hopefully his future reworks bumps him up to at least mid-tier, because he's Freddy Krueger. He deserves better than that. So he'll get reworked. He won't be here much longer. So that's really all I have to say about Freddy. Just keep it short, simple. We all know he's bad. Now let's go to 14. We're gonna talk about Legion now. By the way, these are the low tiers. Legion. we're gonna do 2 entries right now because I didn't know what to do with Legion because earlier today his reworks were released. I was working on this and then his reworks were released. Like they haven't gone into effect yet. They're going in effect 1 week 1 week from the time of recording this. So I don't know if this video will be up by the time those reworks are out. But I was just gonna go ahead and do both of them. The original ranking I had for Legion was 7. So let's go ahead and talk about pre-patch Legion. So like, yeah, no counterplay, broken. He's everyone's favorite. That's all you hear when you talk about it. Everyone loves him. But yes, so like, yes, it's once he starts tunneling you with Feral Frenzy, avoiding getting down is virtually impossible. But there is enough counterplay that keeps him out of the high tiers. Like Legion was a mid tier when I ranked him initially. I don't even think he's a high tier character, pre-patch wise. Firstly, those dumb add-ons he has, you're not going to be seeing them every single time. Frank's mixtape is not something you're going to run into every time you play against him, which we don't even know if the add-on's going to be good anymore. So you're not going to see that against him every single time. And even if you do, there's still some stuff you can do with it. It's hard, don't get me wrong, like it's really stupid. But like there is some stuff you can do. But so just like Frank's mixtape, although it's hard and you're probably not gonna have a fun game, you're not gonna see that every time. So against some of his other setups, there is a lot more counterplay than people are gonna let on. And I know that's going to be a controversial statement, but I listed everything I think you can do against him. 1, don't bother healing. There's really no need to heal against pre-patch Legion, because all he's going to do as soon as he finds you is deep wound you again immediately, and it's not going to matter. When you're not healed, it tempts him to become a baseline killer, because he wants the down. When he's a baseline killer, assuming you're a good survivor, you can juke him for a little bit. And then once he gets annoyed, he's just gonna frenzy again. And even if he hits you, he was gonna do that instantly if you were full health. So like you shaved off a lot of, you shaved off like maybe 20 seconds, trying to just hit you. And so like another tactic you can do with healing is like heal a lot but not fully. So he's tempted to do baseline killer stuff, and then once when he's about to get you, then you could fully heal and then to sponge a hit, essentially. Like that, that's some decent counterplay. It's like, I mean, if he gets frustrated and Feral Frenzies you, then it doesn't work, obviously, but like, that could save a bit of time if you tempt him enough. Next, you can force the Feral Frenzy, the lunge Feral Frenzy, to trade with a pallet to put his power on the cooldown. This can waste his time and buy you some time before he gets Frenzy again. If you knock his power on cooldown, he might just drop the chase altogether and see it is not worth it because you're deep wounded already, probably. And he might just drop the chase altogether if you start actually get the pallet stun on him. You can force the trade, and yeah, he might just drop the chase. Depends on the player. Although, 3, lead him to parts of each map where he can easily lose sight of you. This is especially going to be relevant after the nerfs, because he can't see scratch marks when he's in Feral Frenzy, and now he can't even see bloodstains anymore. But like, you can throw him off in the cornfields and other safe zones on the map that have a lot of places you can go, because if he loses sight of you, he's fucked, and he's not going to be able to hit you again. Mix up how you vault pallets. You could drop a pallet, bait him into jumping over it, and then you turn around and re-jump over it. It gives you all those little extra seconds that might be pivotal in ending the frenzy. So just make sure you don't get repetitive when you do that. And then lockers. As soon as you know it's Legion, the first thing you do is check for Iron Maiden. And if he's not running Iron Maiden, then if he's like frenzying, you can jump at a locker, and then his power goes on cooldown, and then you jump out of it. And then, I mean, if you're not next to a loop, you might get hit, so be careful. This isn't the best, it's a situational counterplay tactic, but it does exist. Now, lastly is that the most of Legion's counterplay happens with the person not in the chase, because you're gonna get down. If Legion decides to tunnel you, pre-patch Legion decides to tunnel you, you're gonna get down. There's nothing you can do about it. But your teammates can't, because good survivors, when they're playing a Legion, pre-patch Legion, they should know exactly how much time it's going to take. They can start calculating this in their heads, how much time it's going to take for him to actually get the down. Because his downs are basically on a timer. They're guaranteed, but they're on a timer. So, you can basically just, like, know when it's safe to do generators, essentially. If he's tunneling somebody, you know that you're safe at the moment, so you can do generators. And basically, like, Weakness has no map, Legion has no map control, very bad in that department, so if he's tunneling somebody, the gens are free pick, and his downs are timed, so as soon as he gets the down, that's when you can start thinking about your next move. It's like a game of chess, almost. But that was then. Now, he's ranked 14 on my list, because I've read those changes, that he's not going to be good. Oh, the character is crushed. Everything about him has no chance of being good. If Frenzy's now gone, if he messes up, like, that's fine. I don't care about that change, because, like, if he misses a Feral Frenzy, he gets punished now. That's fine. Like, it rewards the skillful players, which the top-level Legions aren't going to be missing Feral Frenzies anyway. Not that they're going to exist anymore, but, like, people that are good with Feral Frenzy don't usually miss anyway. And if they do, it's very limited. The Deep Wound Tunnel is now an impossibility, meaning those guaranteed time downs I was talking about no longer exist. The Deep Wound timer doesn't go down if he's in your... the Deep Wounds in general don't go down anymore if someone's in your terror radius. So that sucks for him. And they made his terror radius 32 meters, so he has a huge one now, so he's not going to be able to tunnel anybody ever. And his movement speed was dropped, so like, that's an additional hindrance, so even when he gets the first hit, he's the baseline killer with 110 movement speed again. Yeah, that sucks. And he has all the same weaknesses as before with no map control, and now you can heal against him because Deep Wounds are not as big of a problem as they used to be, especially since there's counterplay now to him missing the Feral Frenzy, so it's not as bad. And then he has add-ons. They said his add-ons are getting changed too. They didn't go into much detail about that, but like, what are they really gonna do? Let him see blood pools again? That's not gonna do anything. Like, the only way he can kind of be saved is if you give him this power to deplete the Deep Wound meter with Feral Frenzy again as an add-on. But, like, if they do that, it'll most likely have drawbacks. And it's going to be nowhere near as good before. And, like, you could argue he's worse than Freddy, honestly. Because, like, yeah, he's pretty much guaranteed the first hit, but, like, so is Freddy with the Dream World. I mean, it's not guaranteed, but, like, if Freddy gets you in the Dream World at a bad spot on the map, he's getting that first hit. Just like, so Legion can get the first hit, and then Freddy has more movement speed after he gets the first hit. So, like, you could argue he's worse than Freddy now. I put him above Freddy just because Freddy's the worst killer in the game right now. So, like, that's kind of what, and the Legion's not out yet. Maybe he'll have some add-ons that aren't dog shit. Like, we don't know. So it's far too speculative to assume anything about his add-ons. But, like, based on these changes, he sucks. Like, he's far worse than Wraith is. At least Wraith's guaranteed the first hit, and it has base movement speed, and then he can use his power again to down you. So it's like, Wraith is better than Legion. Much better. The new Legion sucks. And he sucks. And that's what I gotta say about that. Okay, so, last low tier. Leatherface. What's my problem with Leatherface? Because, like, I have a lot of videos inquiring why he's bad, but, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with him. I think he's a mid-tier in terms of, like, securing downs and winning games. I think he's mid-tier in that department. I think he has a lot. I think he's better than a few killers above him when it comes to doing that. But what puts him down in the low tier for me is the optimal way to play him sucks at accumulating blood points in the new pipping system. I've tried to cut the pipping system out of the rankings as much as possible, but Leatherface is my only exception because it fucks him in the ass. The way the devs want you to play this game and the way Leatherface is supposed to optimally play do not coincide and do not work together. So you can get 3Ks and win the game and still D-rank. I've done it. You can win the game and still D-rank. That's not Leatherface's fault. It's the developer's fault. They're the reason he's a bad killer right now. I mean, he's not the greatest, but the reason he's a low tier right now has to do with all the factors that are outside of his control and not his fault. But that's only gonna get fixed as long if let's say change the fucking ranking system, which they're not gonna do. They changed it for survivors, and if they were gonna change it for killers, they would have already done so. So as long as this new ranking system is the way it is, Leatherface will continue to suck. And there's nothing, like, the system is screwing him over more than anything else. So it's not really his fault. But like, combined with that, his add-ons also just aren't the greatest in the entire world. But Grind Chains isn't terrible, it's decent. But like, compared to the other killers in the game that have much better add-ons, he's outclassed in the add-on department really hard by some of the other killers. And then he also, another weakness, he has no map control, and the chainsaw, just honestly, is not good at dealing with loops, because like, very situationally are they going to be in a position where they have to drop the pallet to your chainsaw. If they see you charging the chainsaw, they're going to run right through the loop because they know they don't have to drop the pallet. They're just going to keep looping you until you force it with your basic attack. Honestly, so like his power doesn't really help him out. He gets looped for days. But again, like, yeah, his instant down still puts him in the mid tier, but he's low tier for me because of the new pipping system and nothing else. And that's all of low tier. Next, we're gonna go through the mid tiers. This is where the most killers are. Most killers fall into this category. So we're gonna go over Wraith next. Wraith number 12, and this will be my first moment of contention that we're talking about, because does Wraith really deserve a spot in mid tier? Honestly, does Wraith deserve a spot in mid tier? Probably not. And so, like, if you disagree with me, that's fine. Like, I was gonna say he's bottom 3, but because of the new Legion, like he's bottom 5 for sure. He's not good. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend Wraith is good, because Wraith is not good. But the thing about it is, like, but I decided to include him as a mid tier rather than a low tier, because like, even if I bumped him down to low tier, his position on the tier list wouldn't change. But I decided to go ahead and give him a mid-tier spot instead of a low-tier spot, because I think he can be a bit underestimated. He can pretty much guarantee the first hit. I mean, it's not as strong as like other killers are doing, like the pig, but like his stealth ability can pretty much guarantee a first hit, especially if he has the right add-ons. And then, after he gets the first hit, he can then use it. If he keeps track of the survivor, he can go back into the bell and then use it again to catch up to them. The fact that he has a higher movement speed while cloaked isn't terrible, and you can use that in the chase. He has a lot more potential in the chase with his power than some people are letting on. He can also block pallets and other environmental stuff with his cloak, because like he's still there and you can't like run past him. So you can run past the survivor, block a pallet, uncloak, and then get a hit on them. I've done that. And he also doesn't get stunned while he's cloaked, which, I mean, if that, I took a pallet point blank to the face. I don't know if that was a glitch or what, but if that happens, he can waste pallets in certain instances, and then that speed boost he gets will just help him immediately uncloak and then hit the guy. And then the cooldown on his attack is not bad. Like, it feels a lot easy. It feels a lot faster than some of the other killers with their cooldowns. He just flicks the weapon with his thumb, and then he's back. So like, he doesn't lose as much positioning after a successful hit, which then you then have options after you do that. But again, he's still low tier, so he's also saddled with weaknesses. He's a baseline killer in most scenarios when he's uncloaked, so if you don't score that first hit, he's really susceptible to loops. He also falls into the no map control ability, and since he only has basic attacks, he's very susceptible to Metal of Man, which you're going to be hearing me say that a lot in this video. Metal of Man is just so meta, and if that perk doesn't get a nerf, the tier list is going to change it according to who can deal with it, because that perk is stupid, as I've said before. But like, the reason I decided to put him in mid-tier is because he does have some really good add-ons. All Seeing Blood is really good. Like, it just guarantees you'll never lose a survivor. And Cocktail Clapper's really good. Just like you combine those two, and you have faster uncloaking, as well as like you'll never lose a survivor during a chase ever, because you'll always see their auras. It's the rare instance where those aura reading add-ons are actually really, really good. And just like you'll never lose people. You have basically in archetype Nurse's Calling on him as long as you're cloaked, and that's super good. Because he can just score first hits by sneaking up on people and they'll have no idea that like he's there. He also has some stealth add-ons that remove his reappearance sounds. Like, he's got some good shit. Like, it's not like game breaking. It's not good, but like if you underestimate Wraith, you're gonna get killed by him, because he does have some good stuff that people should take a little bit more seriously than they do. So I thought giving him a spot in the mid tiers rather with the low tiers would help people take him a little bit more seriously. Okay, next, number 11, we have the pig. If you're on my channel, you know how I feel about the pig. But let me preface everything I'm about to say with that I love this character, and I think she has so much potential. So much potential. And that's why I get so frustrated with her. Because she has the potential to be so much better than she is. But and all that stems with her reverse bear traps, the ability to stall the match out. Like, she has problems. Like, it's not even the fact that she's bad at downing people, because she's bad at downing people, but like, we know that. Like, she can get the first hit with her lunge attack and her ambush, which means she has Metal of Man counterplay, because that's not a basic attack. So she does have that going for her. But like, getting downs with her after that is hard, because she's a baseline killer. And so she's avoidable as fuck. And she gets looped real bad, and she doesn't have any map control. You know, she's saddled with all of those weaknesses. But her power it has so much potential, but it can just be completely ineffective at doing what it's supposed to do at times, and that's what sucks about it. But like, her traps are super good at any point during the match. Like, they can be good end game, because if you're set up, if they have all the exit gates powered and you can somehow get them all in traps, with this, you'll usually be using Noed to help you with that. But like, she can get some really cheesy comebacks, because like all of a sudden you have them all in bear traps, you have Noed, and you're running around, and all three of them can't leave yet because they have another thing they have to do, and that can be super annoying and super good in the late game, and she becomes super dangerous if that stuff happens. And like, another thing about her is that only a few downs, like, yeah, she's bad at downing, but if she can get lucky and get the down she needs, she can regain a lot of her momentum. If she can just take a survivor out of the match for like a good solid 2 minutes, or with the reverse bear trap, like, that, she can get a lot of momentum back, and her comeback potential is actually really underestimated. Her add-ons. This is where I have problems with her, though, because, and we'll talk about her add-ons in a second, because the add-ons do nothing to correct the weaknesses of her power. The problem with the reverse bear trap is somebody can get, you put the reverse bear trap on somebody, you hook them, and then they can get unhooked, go right to the jigsaw box that's probably 2 meters from the hook, unhook it, and then there, the reverse bear trap is gone. And like, that's a problem that the character has, because if those traps don't do their job and they don't last very long, she can't do anything, and she has no control over the situation. And because she relies on RNG. Relying on RNG is never good. It's never good, ever. It's a really easy way to separate yourself from the metagame real fast. And like, the thing about it is, because it's RNG, she has no control over it. She can't control what the bear traps do. She can't control it. So, she can, like the only thing she can kind of do is chase people away from the jigsaw boxes, but like, why would she do that when she can go down somebody else? and because like the guy who's trying to get the bear trap off is not a threat to her. The people that are threats are the people that can still progress the game. So like chasing somebody away from a jigsaw box is a complete waste of her time, and she shouldn't be doing it. But like because her power is out of her control and the reward varies from game to game, she is the most inconsistent killer on the roster. She can be super good or super shit, and you just have to get lucky. And so, like, this is where her add-ons are a problem. The way you buff the pig, I've been saying this forever, is you need to add consistency to her gameplay. You need to minimize the RNG effect on her, because that's where her problems are. But instead, we have add-ons like Amanda's Letter, which suck cock. Because, I'm so mad, because I love her so much. Amanda's Letter sucks cock. And I hate that add-on so much. Because, like, she can crouch and see people's auras. Great. If you can hear them working on a gen, you know they're there anyway. So the aura seeing there is completely useless. But, like, that's not what makes... that just makes the add-on, like... That just makes it unnecessary. What makes it bad is the fact that it reduces your bear traps. If it didn't do that, it'd be okay and it would see play. But like, the fact that she can't stall the match out with it and she relies on her lunge attack, like that doesn't help you get the second hit. She sucks its cock at that second part of the chase. And that's what the reverse bear traps are there to prolong and help her deal with. Getting the first attack hit with the lunge is easy. It's fucking GG easy. Ugh. But like, so like the buffs you need to give her are add-ons that eliminate the possibility of the first or second jigsaw boxes containing the fucking bear trap key. That's what you fucking do to her. I don't know how this isn't easy. You need to like, you run that fucking thing that reduces the bear trap death timer and then an add-on that says the first 2 jigsaw boxes are guaranteed failures. That's a stressful situation right there. That's a stressful as fuck situation. And like that's what makes me so mad, because if you gave her that stuff, she'd be fucking terrifying with those bear traps. And like, of course, they'd have enough time. Like, you could also run the extra box. Like, there's stuff you can do to her that would make her good. Like, but she lacks consistency, and the way you buff this character is to buff the power by giving it more consistency, and I don't know how they don't see that, and I don't know why they don't fix it. She's so close to being good. So close. Alright, I think I'm done. I'm done on her. I'm done. Alright. That's where she is. They're never gonna give her the buff she needs, but I wish she was good. She's so close to being there. She's so close to being high tier. Power-wise, at least. Number-wise, she's got some work. Number 10 is another killer I have a lot to say about. It's Miss Thick Sick, the new girl, the Plague. I have a lot to say about her, because I thought she has a lot of potential. I still do think she has a lot of potential, but she's saddled with a lot of the same problems the Pig has. It's just her power needs a tiny bit of work. Like, okay, good things about the Plague. I think it's neat that she has an in-archetype surveillance ability where she can puke on the generator, and if someone touches it, she'll know that they're there. I think that's a neat idea. I like the fact that she can use Vile Purge to, like, get the first hit on somebody without using her basic attack to get the speed boost. Not only does that not let them get the speed boost, but it reduces a Medal of Man charge. I told you, you'll be hearing me say that a lot. So, like, it can really delay that perk's function. And potentially, if you down them the same way every time, or even with Corrupt Purge, you might not even have to see that perk at all as her. So I think it's the fact that she has a lot of in-archetype Medal of Man defenses, I think is neat. Corrupt Purge, again, gives no Medal of Man charge, so she has a ton of counterplay to that perk, which I think is really nice. And as more fountains get corrupted, getting rid of the sickness can take longer than it should, and it forces survivors on the parts of the map they don't necessarily want to be on because they don't really need to be there, and they're contributing nothing by trying to get rid of the sickness. So it can kind of help her in that department. And I think Vile and Corrupt Purge both have their applications and can both be good when used right. So like, I think she has potential to do better. And now here's where she starts sucking. those damn pools of devotion that she has, they fully heal a survivor. You know how quick they do that? I'm sure you people have played against Plague. You know how fast and how easy it is to get rid of that sickness and fully heal yourself. What's a big part of the meta right now? Sloppy Butcher and anti-healing tactics? So, like, that's such a big part of the metagame right now. And because she has an archetype way for survivors to heal themselves faster than they normally would anyway, means she can't be part of the anti-healing Sloppy Butcher metagame that's going on with most of the killers right now. She just doesn't get to be a part of it. And again, like, when survivors decide to heal themselves, it's super fast. It doesn't bother them that they have to go do that, because they get to fully heal themselves super quickly. And her speed at breaking pallets sucks. Am I the only one that's noticed that? When she sits there at a pallet, she takes forever. And that can be a real pain in the ass when you're trying to down somebody. Because I think she's slow at it. Unless you have, like, super good accuracy with Vile Purge and you have the right add-ons, like, you have to hit them with 100% Vile Purge to put them in that corrupted state. So a full duration of the move unless you have add-ons. But, yeah, they don't get the speed boost, but you can still have it take a super long time to down them anyway. So when you're trying to down somebody, it can take quite a long time to do that. And so she's slow at downing, and then people heal faster against her, so she is penalized for losing survivors a lot harder than other killers are. So that means they'll run up to a fountain, heal really quickly, and they'll spend more time on a damn generator than otherwise. Because she doesn't get to be a part of the anti-healing metagame. So they get to heal real fast and go straight to a generator as soon as they're fucking done. So she can lose a lot of time based on that stuff. Next, her add-ons. Her add-ons aren't very good because most of them revolve around Corrupt Purge. Survivors control Corrupt Purge and when you get it and how often you'll be seeing it. And Corrupt Purge can also force you away from objectives to obtain and waste more of your fucking time. Those two weaknesses in itself make it by far the weaker of her two powers, and most top players don't really recommend running builds that center around Corrupt Purge at the moment, because it's too slow and survivors control it. If they know you're running a Corrupt Purge build, they will be hesitant to give you Corrupt Purge. And because those add-ons aren't really recommended by the top players to run builds around here, it isolates her from like half of her add-ons and makes them not good. So she has like a half of selection of add-ons. And so like that's bad. So she's slow at downing. Half her add-ons don't really work with her as well as they should. And she has no add-on that makes Corrupt Purge an instant down. Like, she doesn't have one. That would be a fucking sick add-on. Like, you might think that sounds overpowered. Why not? Huntress has an add-on that makes her hatchets instant downs. Clown has an add-on, we'll get to that, but like, instant down projectiles are a thing in this game. I don't understand why she doesn't have an add-on that makes Corrupt Purge an instant down. If she had an add-on that made Corrupt Purge an instant down, then it would be more beneficial to run the add-ons that fucking help Corrupt Purge have a longer duration, and it would make more sense to run stuff that would start with a pool already corrupted. Like, stuff like that make Corrupt Purge an instant down would help her in the chases, help shorten her chases a lot. And, like, just having that one add-on would help her other stuff see more play and give her other add-ons room to breathe and function in the metagame. And so, like, I just don't get it, because, like, Corrupt Purge right now, all those add-ons for it are basically useless, and they're useless because she has no thing to make it an instant down. And, like, there's so many ways you could buff her, and, like, so it's like, well, you could still argue survivors control Corrupt Purge, so that still wouldn't be that good. Well, here's what you do with that. You just go, oh, okay, survivors are gonna control it, well, let's make it unplayable for them to be fully sick. There you go. You could make it so they're exhausted as long as they're sick. They'd be running to fountains immediately, because then they couldn't use Dead Hard, or Balance Landing, or any of those perks. You can make it so they have a 5% movement speed reduction as long as they're sick. fully sick, or 10%, 5%, something like that. Again, they'd run into fountains immediately, because they don't want those debuffs. That's when they're going to get killed, when they have huge movement speed debuffs, or exhaustion, stuff like that. You could also have it so when they're sick, they don't repair generators as fast. There's no add-ons that do any of this. Like, even if you don't want to make them for in-archetype ability, how about an add-on for Vile Purge that causes exhaustion? You may think that sounds stupid. Again, Clown has an add-on that causes exhaustion. Why can't the Plague? Like, why do we gotta saddle her with stuff that... Why do we gotta give her 50 different add-ons that increase Corrupt Purge's duration? Like, that's so uncreative. That's so uncreative. Like, even if... Like, I don't understand why. Like, why are we giving her lazy add-ons that don't really do anything for her? Have fucking Corrupt Purge have a Sloppy Butcher effect. It wouldn't be very good because of the pools of devotion, but like even, well, on Corrupt Purge it might actually be okay, because the Corrupt Purge doesn't cause sickness. There's another add-on you could do. Corrupt Purge actually causes sickness too. There you go. That's another add-on. That way Corrupt Purge can feed into itself. There's so many things you could do with her, but they just don't, because they think Corrupt Purge's duration is the most important thing about her to change. And that's bullshit! Again, like not going into in-depth, those two killers I'm just really passionate about because I think they're fun, and I think they can be good if you give them the right shit. But they don't have the right shit right now, and that's what makes them bad. Number 9, the Clown. This is another pick of moment of contention, because I say this because the Clown, I haven't played Clown very much, so my analysis of him is probably not as accurate as some of the other killers in the game. So I just decided that I would just rank this as a moment of contention. If people disagree, feel free to tell me that why my analysis is wrong. I acknowledge the fact that it may not be as good as you would want it to be, but I'm just going to go all into it. Clown can shut down loops with his gas and make staying at them utter suicide, and that's pretty good. Any killer that can shut down loops is good, because if as long as they have an ability that goes, no, I don't have to run the Killer Shack, that puts them mid-tier. Instant downs don't put somebody at mid-tier. The ability to go, I don't have to run the Killer Shack, makes somebody a mid-tier. If they have an ability that does that, chances are you'll find them in mid-tier. The thing that Clown has is that since survivors can't prolong time at loops, they have to know the maps to get away from this guy. They have to know where they're going to go next as they're at a loop. They have to be pre-planning 4 steps ahead versus like when they're going to have to plan out 2 steps ahead versus another killer. Clown forces you to always be thinking 3 plays in advance while also trying to focus on what's happening now. Because if you lose focus in the game, you could take a hit. And so like that's actually a really cool thing. And being able to reduce movement speed is a super good thing, and allows him to secure downs that some killers might not be able to get otherwise. And like I mentioned before, he has an add-on that causes exhaustion, which is super neat, because, again, to throw down gas and go, okay, I just hit you with gas, you can't use Dead Hard now, that's super nice. He has in-archetype exhaustion, that's really good. But other than that add-on, that causes exhaustion, the rest of them didn't feel particularly impressive, because all they do is confine him to a single playstyle. So I'm going to throw the bottles, and then you're going to have to try to get away from me, taking 4 steps in advance. Like, every add-on he has complements that one single playstyle, whereas other killers above him start mixing up how they play just because they exist. And that's what I think the biggest weakness of him is. Like, when you see a Clown, you know what you need to do immediately. It's a bit harder to do, but you know what you have to do. Whereas when you see a killer like Myers or Hag or somebody else, you don't know what playstyle they're going to be going for. A match against Fragrant Tuft of Hair Myers is extremely different than a match against Scratch Mirror Myers. Clown's add-ons don't add that variety to him, and that's why he's rather limited. Like, even that add-on that gives him if he hits somebody directly with a bottle, they become exposed. Huntress gets the same thing for free with her. First of all, she has hatchets that can just instant down you. And then, like, the whole 1-2 combo she has anyway. She can just throw a hatchet at you and then secure down quickly with her melee attack. That's something she's always had. So, like, basically, one of Clown's most powerful add-ons, Huntress gets for free. So, And again, he sucks at map control. He has nothing outside the chase with this power. That's all. His power only provides him chase benefits. And then some clown players I've played won't break pallets because they want those downs really fast. And like they want to catch you as you're traveling from pallet to pallet, so they won't waste their time breaking pallets, because if they break the pallet, you might get to another loop before they can actually hit you. So sometimes they don't break the pallets to secure hits, which is fine, but later in the game when they're chasing another survivor, that survivor might take them back to a pallet that they decide not to break, and they can be facing the same loops again, if that makes sense. And he also only has basic attacks, which means Metal of a Man is going to be a problem for him, because he has no counterplay to it. He just, except that one add-on that puts the guy into the exposed status. That's the only counterplay he has against it, and you're not going to be using that every time. But again, my analysis of him is probably not the greatest, so if you think he's better or worse, just let me know. Do it respectfully, please. Number 8. We're still in the mid-tier, by the way. I think I'm going to have to make a part 2 to this. Number 8 is Trapper. Trapper wasn't mid-tier before his rework, that's for sure. He got helped a ton when he was destroyed back in the day, when gimmicks really hurt him, and like it was nice to see that the title killer got a nice quality of life that helps him see better viability. He can also shut down loops, and he just negates parts of the map that you don't really like. The fact that he can just go, oh, there's the safe building, let me just turn that into my funhouse. That's really good. He can just trap the killer shack, trap the main building of the map, so like those two things won't be an issue for him. It's like he just can say, I don't have to run these loops because I'm Trapper. That's really good, and it can save him a lot of time. And if he has a basement hook, good luck escaping, because he can just trap that shack, and he can just, he's scary when he has basement control. And like, when his traps can be disarmed, but if you have proper add-ons, that shit can take forever. And like, if they're disarming your traps, what are they not doing? Generators. And if they make that process take forever, he can slow the game down. But he is saddled with weaknesses as well. He's slow as fuck in the early game. So like, before he's even set up with a board that he can work with, there's probably 2 or 3 gens done. So that's a problem that the character has had and will always had as long as he's in the game. And without traps, he's a baseline killer, and he can't control the whole map at once. So you are going to hit pallets that you have no control over, and like that can suck. And so like, if your Trapper has a slow start, by the time his board's established, there could be 2 or 1 gens left. And so like, the way you have to get set up really fast, you have to bring items that help him set up a board. You have to like bring an extra trap bag or setting speed. You gotta do something that helps him to set up as fast as fucking possible. But you know, he's really easy. There's not a lot to say about him just because he's really basic. But like, he's basic, but he's effective. And if you like, everybody can always fall back on him when they're getting frustrated. I think that's another thing. Like, if you're just having a bad day, like you're just off with your main, just switch to Trapper, because he's really easy. And anybody that knows how to play Dead by Daylight can play him effectively. That's what's really nice about him. He's decent, and anybody can fall back on him, and that's super nice. 2 mid tiers left, but I'm probably only gonna cover 1 because I'm gonna have to shut this off soon and make a part 2. Number 7. The face of the mid tier, Mr. Doctor. No, he's not OP, surprisingly. I mean, he can be quite strong and hard to escape. He can take healing away entirely, that's nice, when they're in tier 3 madness. And he can mess around with the skill check locations on the screen. Like, all that's really nice. He can have the illusionary pallets. Those are good in chases because you can just make a survivor think they're safe when they're actually not. Shock therapy has a lot of potential to get situational downs because you can stall their movements for 2 seconds, swap back over, hit them with punishment. So like, he does have a lot of potential for downs, but he's also hard to do it with because a lot of his tricks, doctors relies on trickery and gimmicks a whole lot. And you see, at top level play, survivors aren't going to miss those skill checks. They're not going to fall for as many illusionary pallets, especially if they were the one that set that pallet off. So like that whole trickery and gimmicky side to his skill set is more useless at top level than anything else. They're not going to be missing skill checks. They're not going to be falling for your shit. They're not going to be falling for like the fact that your red spec is right behind them. They just know that that's what happens when they're in madness, and it doesn't necessarily mean you're right behind them. And not like those benefits are also something he has to work for by shocking the shit out of you, which takes time away from him actually downing you. All right, and he only has a melee attack. He's susceptible to Metal of Man. So again, you can still see that perk 4 times a fucking match if you play him, because there's nothing he can do about it but take it. His add-ons are nice. They can make shock therapy's range stupid, and they can also make it different shapes. Like a ring is one, like a straight line. Like he has a lot of stuff he can do with it, and like if survivors aren't accustomed to these other ranges, they can get really taken off guard by it. That ring match I played went really well, and I wasn't really expecting it to. It took me a bit to get used to it, but it's interesting. But since he can take a while to down, he can also get really screwed if that middle gen gets done early. Doctor relies on the middle gen staying safe, and if it doesn't stay safe, he can just get fucked really bad. And in addition, well, he always knows where you are, but like when someone madnesses up, you know where he is. He's over there somewhere, so you can also know what he's doing. You also have more information about him and what he's doing around the map than you would against other killers, just because there's so many indicators flashing at once, and you can just kind of know where he is. So like, I think he is the most balanced killer in the game, because I think he has a lot of strengths but a lot of weaknesses as well. And like, he's an intense opponent for sure. He can really be hard to like fuck around with. You don't really want to mess around with him because of what he can do. And you know, I just think he's nice. I think he's a decent killer. And honestly, the game ranks him as hard, but like once you figure him out, he's not that hard. You just gotta know what your stuff does. You gotta know what those illusionary doctors do. You gotta know treatment mode. Like as soon as you play a few games with him, he's easy. It's not. I mean, it's not that he's easy. He's not good enough to be considered like easy. You have to work to play him. But like, I think he's decent. He's not as hard as the game makes him out to be. You just gotta have an understanding of what you're doing with him, and then he gets better. And at 52 minutes, I'm going to call that part 1. I got to add video to all this to make it flow and make it actually go together. But we're going to go ahead and save it for right now, and I'm just going to start on part 2 right away.